Today, we have the first drive with the 2025 updated Mitsubishi Outlander, and the question is, with all of the updates that they've given this car, is it enough? This Outlander in its current form has been around for several years now, and for 2025, Mitsubishi has given it a few key updates. From the exterior, I won't blame you if you have a hard time spotting them. There is one particular update up here in the front end, and that is with the grille. I had to look back and forth at some pictures to be able to tell, but previously they had a few more cutouts here in the top of the grille. Now it is more smoothed out, a little bit more minimalist, but otherwise the front end is pretty much the same. Coming around the side, the biggest update that you'll probably see on the exterior in general are these wheels. This is a very highly optioned Outlander, so we have these bigger 20-inch wheels. That is a new design, but even the base model ES with an 18-inch wheel does have an updated wheel design. And if we go around the back of the car, keen-eyed viewers might also notice the update to the taillight. This one has a little bit more of a smoked kind of appearance. So those are the primary updates on the exterior. They have done a few arguably more useful things to update the interior. Now, for the most part, the Outlander has had a pretty solid interior layout, good materials and good design, but one of the things that they've changed up that is a welcome improvement is this center screen here. And we'll kick down the volume on this audio system, which is also something we'll have to talk about. But the screen in the center is bigger than before. It's a 12.3-inch screen, of course, Apple CarPlay, all of the connectivity that you would expect. Slightly different layout, more wide than it used to be. These cars do also have, on some higher trims, the option of getting this digital rear view mirror, and that's new. And then they've also changed up the center console design. So we've got our cup holders here along the side. And another one of the primary updates to the interior is this Yamaha audio system. There are two different systems. There's the base Yamaha audio system and then the ultimate system. And the ultimate system that you can get in this car is 12 speakers, and they say 1,650 peak watts. And it seems like they've put quite a bit of development behind this sound system. That is a pretty big improvement. Now, for actually testing an audio system in a car on video, it's kind of a difficult thing to capture. But what I can tell you is that we've listened to the sound system, and it is a good sounding system. So if that's an important buying decision for you, an important element to tick off the box, then definitely get in one of these cars because it works pretty well. For some of the primary elements here in the interior, we have a 12.3-inch instrument cluster directly in front of the driver, all digital. For the steering wheel itself, we've got some basic controls here for your skip track and for your volume, just some of the basic stuff you would expect. We do have paddles on this, even though this is a CVT powertrain, and we've got some pretty nice touch points. So these window switches have a good fit and finish to them. We also have hard buttons for your climate controls, heated and ventilated seats, as well as a heated steering wheel here on this more high-end model. We have a wireless phone charger here at the front of the car, as well as a couple USB-Cs. We've got our drive selector and our mode selector. So it's all pretty basic stuff, but they've done a good job with the touch points and materials on this interior in general. This is a piano black finish here on the center console, which some people don't like, especially because of the way that it can age and get scratched over time, or if nothing else, just get dirty. But at least sitting here in this one as it sits brand new, it's a pretty sharp looking interior. Driving the updated 2025 Outlander, most of the updates, like the exterior updates that they've made to the suspension and to the steering, are not going to be so significant that I would recommend selling your 2024 Outlander to trade in for one of these. However, they are some welcome refinements. This is already a pretty well-behaved, good driving car. It's very easy to operate, even when we're in as chaotic of an environment as we are here in downtown Los Angeles. Visibility is good, the mirrors are good. This is a quiet, comfortable car to operate. A lot of the road surface that we're driving over is pretty uneven. There's a lot of potholes. The ride and handling is very compliant. It's a very comfortable car on these city streets. As far as acceleration, It's 181 horsepower. It's a CVT, so a lot of the characteristics that you would expect from a powertrain like that is what you get here. It's obviously not crazy fast, but enough to get you moving, get out of its own way. The thing that I really like as far as powertrain options on the Outlander is actually the slightly different powertrain option that you can get for the Outlander, and that would be the plug-in hybrid model, because that model you can get about, they say, 38 miles of range on all electric, which is really nice. They say it takes about 38 minutes to charge up the battery for you to get that extra range, so that's a really good option to have. That car is a good bit more expensive than this standard 2.5 liter, but if you want to have that extra capability, then that is a nice thing to have. Otherwise, being here in the Outlander, nothing about the driving experience really bugs you. This is a car that just lets you settle in and cover miles as comfortably as possible. Stepping into the second row, we've still got some pretty decent amenities all the way back here. So we do have a shade for our window there, which is a nice thing to have for rear seat occupants. We've got a decent amount of leg room. That is my driving position. We were just out on the road in this car, and that's where I had it. So not bad on the leg room. We've also got a couple pockets built into the top of the seat here, which is kind of cool, in addition to the pocket that we expect lower down. And then as well, we do have vents for the rear seat passengers, as well as our own climate control, at least for temperature. And we've got heated outboard seats here in the rear. Those are all pretty nice features to have for second row occupants. Around back, the Outlander gives us a power lift gate, and one of the key features that you get on any of the Outlanders are these third row seats. As you can tell, this third row is not a very big place to sit. Now, purely for your entertainment, I will attempt to get into the rear row. So you grab that lever on the second row seat, and you can tip it forward and slide it out of the way. There's a pretty small gap to step through. Oh my God. Shaky camera work because it's not exactly smooth getting into the back seat. Now, if I dare to pull this seat backward, what it doesn't do is immediately try and crush my legs. So you can see how much further forward the back of this seat is than it would be normally for the passenger sitting back here. And also, I'm only 5'10" and my head is touching. This is a famously small third row. In fact, my boss Roman, who's much bigger than myself, has squeezed into the back of these several times. It's not meant to be comfortable for adults. This is a very compact vehicle for having a third row, which is one of the cool offerings about it. If you need to squeeze this many people into your car, if you need to squeeze, 7 people in, you can. It's just not going to be comfortable for bigger individuals. But if you have kids and you need to stack a bunch of them in this car, this is one of the few vehicles in this size and price point that lets you do that. So it is a pro of this vehicle, even though it's not the most comfortable place to be. Now, the specific powertrain that we're looking at here is a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder and a CVT transmission. This was a shared platform with the Nissan Rogue before the Nissan Rogue was updated, and this output is 181 horsepower, 181 pound-feet of torque. This is not specifically the plug-in hybrid model that we're looking at on this event. It's the updates to just this standard Outlander. Once again, accelerating here in the Outlander, nothing too crazy, and you get the whine of the engine paired to a CVT. It's definitely not a sporty crossover, it's not a performance car, but I think that this car's driving dynamics perfectly match the kind of people that are looking for it, and I think those kinds of people probably just want a practical, easy car to live with. Now, as you can see, this is an SEL, and it does have all-wheel drive. So this is a pretty heavily optioned model, but the way that the trim structure works at the moment is the base model is an ES, then you step up to an SE, and finally at the top of the line is this SEL. But they are looking at making a trail edition later on in the year that's going to have some more rugged features and a more aggressive wheel tire package with some cladding, which would be a cool option for people who live in more rugged areas like where we're based in Colorado. Now, getting back to my original question about this Outlander, are these updates enough? Is this enough to keep the Outlander competitive in what is truthfully an extremely competitive segment of the automotive industry? And I think in a way it actually is. Even though these updates are very, very mild, there's a few things this Outlander does that few else in this category are doing. For one, the option for a plug-in hybrid is a really nice option to have if you want to go for that more premium end of things. Now, previously, these vehicles started around $28,000. They've added less than $1,000 to that starting price tag. If you're getting a standard model as optioned as this one is, you're going to be over $40,000, including everything that this particular SEL with all the nice packages gets you. But if you want to have one of those plug-in hybrid options, that's going to start closer to $40,000. This one is also available in either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, but again, this one being very heavily optioned is all-wheel drive. So you've got a lot of things that you can get with this Outlander. You can get a plug-in hybrid powertrain. You can get also a more inexpensive standard model. You can get all-wheel drive. Also very important, you can get that third row of seating, which is not an easy thing to find in this size of vehicle and in this category. So for those reasons, I think that the Outlander is actually a pretty good option out there for a lot of people. And that's one of the reasons that this is actually a pretty big seller for Mitsubishi, and they've seen actually sales increases over the last year. So that's all for this video. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Is this Outlander doing enough to stay relevant? That's all, and we'll see you in the next video.